Hey, what's up guys? So I wanted to do a little bit of a different kind of video this week. So I reached out to some friends of mine and asked them some questions to kind of get their perspective on everything that's happened over the years with me and my transition and having a friend that's transgender and all that stuff. I'm at college, so I'm not really near any of them, so I just sent them some questions over text messages, but I picked 4 people that I feel like each have a very unique perspective on this, a perspective that's different from each other. So that's kind of how I went about this. My friends Caitlin, Jenna, Laura, and Cody all were willing to answer some questions for me, which was great. Just to give you a little background on each of their unique perspectives, Caitlin is my ex-girlfriend. We dated before I was out as trans, before I even knew I was trans, before any of that. We also broke up before any of that. So during most of the big points in my transition and all that, she and I were really taking our time apart and our space away from each other. So she's a big part of a little bit before all that, and then we stopped talking for a while, and just recently we were able to kind of come back and form a friendship again. So she's really seen how everything's changed for me, but throughout most of that going on, we weren't in contact or anything like that. Then Jenna, she's one of my best friends. Jenna met me right after I came out, and for a little bit of timeline, I came out to the first person February 1st, 2014, and Jenna and I met February 27th, 2014, I believe. So literally right after all that, and we had a very close friendship. We were even roommates for a little bit. So she's really had a first-hand look on everything since me coming out, throughout everything, starting testosterone and all that up till now. So she's had front row seats to all that. And then another one of my best friends, Laura. Laura's definitely known me the longest out of all the people I asked. We played soccer together growing up. She's known me for 10 years, maybe a little bit over 10 years. I really don't know the exact timeline, but a long time. She's literally seen me from when I was a kid, throughout my preteen years, to my teen years, through crazy high school, through me coming out as trans, through me coming out as lesbian, through me coming out as trans, to me starting testosterone, to me getting my top surgery consultation, just literally throughout all of it. And although, because high school had ended and soccer had ended by the time I came out, we haven't really seen each other since I came out, but we stayed in contact very much over text and all that stuff. So she definitely has been involved in all this from the very beginning to where we are now. And then last but of course not least, Cody's my boyfriend, and we haven't been dating for very long at this point in time, but I mean, he's my boyfriend, so it's definitely a very unique perspective on all this, and I had a few questions for him as well. So let's just get right into it. Caitlin, since we weren't really talking throughout the biggest part of my transition, I just had a few questions for her. So the first question I asked Caitlin was, how would you identify your sexuality? And she answered pansexual. And then I asked her, when we were dating, did you ever feel like I might be transgender? And she responded, I felt a guyish vibe from you, but never could see you actually going through the full transition. And then my third question for her was, how did you feel when you found out that I actually am transgender? She said, surprised, especially when I heard your voice very different. I'm proud of you, though. It seems to make you happier, which is way better than how upset you were before. You deserve to be happy and content with yourself. I also asked her if there was anything else she wanted me to put in the video, and she said that we might not have ended on good terms, but just goes to show that I was able to look past everything that happened because I know what a wonderful person you are. So that's what Caitlin had to say about everything. Next, we got Jenna. Alright, my first question for Jenna was, did you know anything about the transgender community before you met me? And she said no. So, my second question was, does me being transgender affect our friendship in any way? She said, well, yes and no. She said yes because I've been somewhat involved in your life and have seen how it's affected you. And then no, because in a way, it doesn't affect me what you are or who you like because we are friends and friendship is more important to me than labels. So then I asked her, when we first met, I had just come out and I still hadn't started testosterone. Was it ever weird for you to use my preferred pronouns when so many people, including my family, still did not at that point in time? She answered, it wasn't hard when it was you and I because that's what I knew you as. I never knew you as female. To be honest, I don't even remember what your given name is. But sometimes around your family, yeah, because they wouldn't use the preferred pronouns and it got confusing on who we were talking about sometimes because I would say he and they would say she. I asked her if she has noticed any big changes throughout my transition since she's known me. She said my facial hair, LOL, my voice, and my emotions. And I said, emotions for better or for worse or just different? She said, for a little they were worse, and now they have gotten better, and they are different as well. I asked her if there was anything else she would like me to put into the video, and she said that you were freaking awesome and fuck anyone who feels differently. And the people who sit there and preach about how it's wrong in God's eyes, it's always wrong in His eyes to do what they are doing. God wants everyone to love each other and respect each other despite the difference in beliefs and feelings. Now we got Laura. I definitely had the most questions for Laura since she's known me the longest. My first question was, did you know anything about or have any experience with the transgender community before I came out to you? She said, I've learned most of what I know from what you have taught me about the transgender community. I'm learning a lot about it in my college classes now, but when you came out to me, I didn't. My next question for her was, do you remember when I told you? And if you do you remember how you felt about it? She said, I remember that you told me that you were transgender and that you felt more comfortable identifying as a man. I felt proud of you and relieved for you that you had finally found what you had been looking for all those years, that you found the answer to all your questions. My third question for her was, from your perspective, do you feel like there were any signs that I was trans or in any way different than other girls before I came out, even if you didn't notice them then, just looking back now? Her response was, I did notice some things, especially playing on a women's sport team with you, but I didn't question them back then and accepted you as you were. There were times when you didn't understand why the girls did something or thought something, but as I said, I never questioned it. Now looking back, I can see sometimes when it could have been evident, but that is just reflecting on the past. My next question for her was, do you feel like me being trans affects our friendship in any way? She said, I don't think that you being trans affects our relationship or friendship in any way at all. You've always been my best friend and nothing would ever change that, especially our past. We are friends forever and I can't imagine it changing anything, especially because of who I am. I do and have always wanted you to be happy, and this is the happiest I've ever seen you. My fifth question for Laura was it hard for you to switch my pronouns and name? She said at first it was hard to switch pronouns and your name because I've known you since we were 9, but I quickly caught on and am correct all the time. I would always try my hardest, and since we mostly talked with typing messages, it it was easier for me to catch myself. Next, I asked her, would you say I've changed at all throughout my transition? She said, I would definitely say that you have changed throughout your transition, but for the good. You have become more confident and obviously more comfortable in your own skin. It has been amazing to watch you grow throughout our friendship and see where you are today compared to where we started. Lastly, I asked her if she has any advice for someone whose friend comes out as trans to them. She said, my biggest advice is accepting your friend and not questioning their decision/acceptance of themselves. It is not something that people just on a whim decide. It is who they are, and now they are expressing it. Now I have the questions I asked my boyfriend. Cody decided to be very straight to the point with these answers, just so you know. So my first question for Cody was, did you have any experience with or know anyone from the transgender community before you met me? And he said no. My next question was, how do you identify your sexuality? And he said, I identify my sexuality as gay. My third question was, how do you feel about dating a trans guy? He said, in the beginning it was a little weird, but it don't bother me no more. It was at the emoticon with the sunglasses. My fourth question for Cody was, do you feel like me being trans affects our relationship in any way? He said, no, it doesn't. I like you because you are an awesome person! Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation. And then I asked if there was anything else you would like me to put in the video, and he said, you're the best! Exclamation point, exclamation point, winky face. Thank you to all my friends who answered questions for this video. I really appreciate it. And to you guys watching this video, if any of you guys have questions that you would like me to ask either Caitlin, Jenna, Laura, or Cody, just you can send them to me on here or on my Tumblr or even on my Twitter, and I will ask them and we'll try to get some answers for y'all. Maybe one of these days you'll even see some of these guys in some of my videos. Cody's already been in one of my videos. So yeah, I will talk to you soon, and love you all. Take care. Peace.